So today we're going to be talking about us and why we've decided to start sharing videos on line and just kind of where we're going and where we've been as far as our infertility and kind of what we've been struggling with and all of that. So I guess
Flies.
Big fly.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So where do we want to start?
So we should probably explain a little bit.
Okay.
So it has to probably start with me because I'm the problem. So I was born with a genetic condition that's called Cowman syndrome. I'm not going to really explain to you what Cowman syndrome is. Jessica maybe do it. I just don't think that it's necessary. If you really want to know what Cowman syndrome is, you can always look it up. But essentially, my body doesn't do what it needs to do, and especially because of that, I have some issues. One being that I'm infertile. I can't, I just can't have kids. And another one is, interestingly enough, that I can't smell. I'm actually like a deaf person or a blind person, but I can't smell. I've never been able to smell. It's a weird concept to me. I don't understand smell. I don't understand people who smell. It'd be like this. The best way to describe it would be like if you only saw in black and white, never saw color, and everybody started talking about the color blue or the color red, and you had no reference for color blue or color red, and everyone's talking about it and reacting to it like it exists, but to you it's just black and white. Everything's just black and white. That's like essentially kind of like the best way to describe it. I have no context for smell. So when people say, "Oh, this smells good," like I should do a montage of all the questions I've ever been asked about smell and just whatever. And so I had this genetic condition my whole life, but I found out about it when I was diagnosed at like 18. Part of the problem with Cowman syndrome is because my body doesn't do what it needs to do. Like I didn't hit puberty basically until 18.
Well, and it was
chemically forced.
It was a treatment.
Yeah, it was like
that was done with the help of a doctor.
Right, and so when I went on, I turned in my mission papers, and in order to do that, I had to pass a few medical tests, and because like I still looked like I was a 12-year-old kid. At 18, they're like, okay, something's wrong, and so they did some tests, and essentially it boiled down to finding out that I had Cowman syndrome, and I remember sitting in the doctor's office, and essentially, she just listed all the things that I was going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. And then she talked about the fact that I wouldn't have kids. And so at 18 years old, I found that out. I found out that I wouldn't have kids. And it was weird. It was a weird situation because I don't know, at 18, like someone tells you something
on your radar.
Somebody tells you that you're not going to have kids, you kind of like deep in your mind just like, okay, good. And I remember my mom just bawling when the doctor told us. My mom just like bawled. Because I think she understood. I mean, obviously she was my mom, so she understood what was
the gravity of the situation.
Right. What would have been lost had she had that similar situation. When me and Jessica met, we, I remember we were dating, and I don't know at what point I told you.
We had been dating probably about 2 months. Month and a half, 2 months, because I remember you told me pretty early on, because you had said, we were driving in the car and you were like, so there's something I've got to tell you, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, it may be a deal breaker. It might be something that would stop us from dating in the future. And he told me that he had a condition. He didn't go into detail at all, but that he went to the doctor when he was 18, and the doctor told him that he would never father any biological children. After he had told me this, and I'm thinking, I believe in a God of miracles. And if we're supposed to have kids, miracles will happen. You see it all the time. You hear stories about it all of the time. People tell stories all of the time. Oh, my sister's so-and-so's brother's wife's husband's uncle's son had so-and-so, and they were, and then they miraculously got pregnant. And I was just like, it happens. Miracles happen all the time. And so I was like, you know what? It's not a problem. At that point, I recognized the kind of man that Jared was, even though I was still really young myself. I knew that he was the kind of person that I wanted to be married to.
Then, you ask her now, you're like, hey, I know at 20 you didn't think 11 years of infertility and all of what it was going to entail. But, are you, dissatisfied now? Are you wish that you changed your mind or did something different?
No, I don't, because I would rather be married to Jared and have no children than be married to another man and have children. Jared is just such an amazing...
Just so awesome.
He's an amazing individual. I am really, really lucky to be married to this guy.
And so, 11 years, it's been hard. I don't know, it's hard in different ways for both of us. It's hard for Jessica to see all the other people have what she always wanted, having a family. And we both wanted that, the family that we could sort of build ourselves,
We both come from broken homes. Jared didn't grow up with a dad, and I had less than ideal circumstances in my own home growing up.
But I had a good mom.
You do have a very good
and then
mom.
good grandparents and just good family. But, but it wasn't exactly the ideal situation that I wanted. I wanted that family. I still want that family, but, whatever. It's what it is. I've come to the point where, and there's been times in, this whole 11 years that I'm better, and then there's times that I'm worse,
Maybe.
Anyway, but...
there are ups and downs through the whole thing,
But I've essentially gotten to the point where, I don't know, either way, we have kids, great, awesome. If we don't, okay, great, awesome. I'm to that point that...
I'm not.
You're not, but I'm to that point where I'm just gonna accept any outcome and, do my best to live whatever I gotta do, and I don't know. The funny thing about our marriage is it's always been, kind of easy. I remember when we first got married, everyone was telling us that, oh yeah, that first year...
It's the hardest
year. And I remember getting through that going, what? That was easy. And then they're like, oh, by year 3, it's hard.
Oh, it'll be so hard. If
and
you
then
just make it to year 3.
Yeah, and year 3 was okay. And there was year 5, and then
the 7 year
7 years, and then it was 10 years, and so being married has been actually awesome. I've enjoyed being married. I've never looked back at my single life and been like, dang it, man, I wish I was right there, single. No, I've never thought that. I've just always enjoyed marriage, and we haven't had any problems in our marriage except for this. This is the only thing that we've done. And so I suppose that out of the grand scheme of things, we should. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that the only thing that I've had to deal with is the infertility. It's hard, and those who are infertile understand that better than anyone. But we're healthy. Besides that, and
we've got a roof over our head and
we've been
a little bit of money in the bank. Not a ton.
We've always had jobs. We've always been okay, and that's kind of my thing. I just believe that it's always gonna be okay. No matter what, we always end up being okay. Even when we go through really, really rough spots, we always end up being okay. And so for me, I can't really complain very much. We like that family, but if it never comes, that's why I said it. Just we're gonna be okay.